Myler, and I've been working in healthcare for about 23 years. I'm delighted to be here today to talk about the end-user approach to specification writing. I would have done quite a bit of work over the last 12 years in particular with different kinds of projects. The single most valuable item that I worked with in terms of writing a specification was 1.5 million, and in multiples that we've worked up to about 20 million. So I've done a fair bit, and I've had quite a few people working with me, so I'm hoping you grasp from this some of the key experiences that I have found, okay? So, in every scenario of specification writing, in my opinion, there are two important elements. They're the end users and the suppliers. And really they need to work together as a team from a very early point, before we ever start to write the specification, when we have the idea in our heads that we actually want to buy something. And this is often where one of the areas that we fail when we're devising our specifications. So obviously in every time that we write specifications for tenders, whether they're EU, national, or just a three-quote or whatever it is, there are key elements that always exist. There's the money element, which is always restrictive in the public service. There's the time. So either we're dying to have it at breakneck speed because something has gone down and we're basically not delivering the service till we can get up and running, or else we feel controlled by an EU tender that can take a good few weeks and months to go through. And then we also are looking at quality. We always want something that's going to work for us, that's actually going to deliver what we are hoping to achieve. But the one thing that I find is always missed very early on in the process is the actual satisfaction. It's actually getting something on board that actually works and works for the staff member. In healthcare, we're always inclined to put the patient first, but when I'm doing specification writing, I now look at the staff as being the top priority. If your staff are happy, if they know their machine works, they give 100% to their patient is happy, their stakeholders are happy, and then your business is starting to operate quite efficiently. So, when I sit down and I turn to somebody, an end user, and they're deciding, they've come to me, they say, Colette, I want to buy something. And I say, okay, you're going to have to write a specification alongside me. And they're terrified. They normally say, Colette, I only use the machine. I don't have a clue how it's built. I know nothing about the technical detail. I am not an engineer. And then on top of that, there's this idea that I'm going to end up being stuck with a product that isn't really going to suit me because I'm going to have to accept the cheapest price that comes in. That is the case if you haven't really written your specification very well, but there is a way of doing it. It doesn't always have to be down to the thing that you don't want, that you have to accept. And it's kind of one of the things that a lot of people are thinking of. So my job is to try and get end users not to think that way from an early stage. When I turn to the suppliers, it's a total different story. They're saying to me, Colette, for God's sakes, will you please make sure you actually describe well what you're looking for? I've got 3 or 4 projects here that I can offer, but if the description in the specification isn't giving me enough information, I'm going to give you my cheapest offer, because I don't want to lose this contract. And I don't have justification to give you anything better by what you've written. So he's tearing his hair out, he's looking at all his options, he's trying to decide what can he actually offer you. And his time is money. He could be tendering, he could be answering 20 tenders in a couple of months. If he doesn't get any of them, he's basically not getting paid. So I have learned that I have to take into account the supplier side of it as well. So this is where I come to the storytelling. A good specification is actually a story, and what we often do is hone very much in on the actual technical side of it, when in reality my experience has been it's not the technical side that actually matters when I'm trying to evaluate an actual product. So when I'm telling this story, when I get people to understand the story, we all have wants and we have needs, okay? Our need, basically for me, my need is that I have to drink something every day, or I have to eat fruit and vegetables to survive. The want part is when you might want the sweet or the chocolate or the crisps, all right? Now, what I want you to picture is sometimes the want is important. It's not all about the need. If I want to give a child a horrible medicine, I'll hide it in a sweet. Their experience is then better because they are less likely to be not wanting to come back the next time when I have to give the next dose. What I'm trying to say here is experience, the patient's experience counts, and it's the part we often miss when we're devising specifications. So the trick is to get the balance between the need and the want, and I hope to explain that a little bit better. So when I sit down with with an end user, what I tell them to do is, first of all, do your thinking. Who do you want the equipment to be used with? What do you want it to do? Why are you even buying it? Where is it going to go? When are you going to use it, and how are you going to use it? So it's not about the technical side, the size of it, the shape of it. It's about how you're actually going to use it. What I tell them to do now is I tell them to put a blank sheet of paper in front of them and start to brainstorm. Put down anything they can think of that's important to them for this piece of machinery to make them happy. And it's putting those pieces down on paper to understand better your story. I then tell them to go and talk to their suppliers and their end users. Most of them think to talk to the end users. A lot of them are afraid to talk to suppliers because they feel, will they be in trouble if they start to talk to one or two? I tell everyone that deals with me, please try and find 3 suppliers out there that actually deliver the product you're looking for, and to talk to them, because as long as we have not started an EU tender or a national tender, you can talk to anyone you want. You need to understand what's out on that market. I find a lot of end users are inclined to be honed in on one thing that they have seen, and they kind of think, I like that, and I'm not going to look at anything else because I know I like that. But when I encourage it, they often find there are other aspects of other things that are quite good as well, and then they start to work out the balance of what they actually really, really want. So moving on, and it's so important, and it's the one thing a lot of them miss at the early stage. So I'm going to tell the story of the chair, and this is an end user coming to me saying, I want to buy a chair. And we could talk about the product, the wood, what's in it, whatever, but really at the end of the day, it's not about that. So my story is, I want a chair, my need is, I need to sit somebody down in it. But I could have 3 stories. One story could be that I just wanted for the staff to sit down at lunchtime. Second story could be I wanted for a physiotherapy clinic where the patient has to sit on a sturdy chair and wave their hands around as an exercise. Or the third one could be that I have a ward, and in that ward there are patients that come through very, very hard surgery, maybe around the stomach area. Their core muscles are shattered basically for a period of time. I only have them for maybe about 10 days. So I need something that they will sit in, that they won't slide off, because a lot of patients, when they're just through surgery, they're quite tired. They can't really go the duration of a sit for maybe an hour or 2 the way they would have before surgery. So I need them to be safe. So you can automatically see that it isn't the technology in the makeup of the seat, it's the kind of design that you're looking for that's really important there. And then to take a medical device, you've the x-ray story. So obviously my need is I need an x-ray, and I need it to be able to diagnose fractures or something like that. But I have 3 stories. The first one is I'm working in a sports clinic. So most of the people coming into me are very strong, healthy people. They can get themselves up on the table, even if they probably have quite a bad break in their legs. Their ability to support themselves to get up on that table is quite strong. Okay, my second scenario or my story could be that I'm buying this machine for an acute hospital. And the acute hospital deals with patients anywhere from 16 to 100 plus. And these patients are coming in, and 70% of them are mobile. They have an ability to get themselves up onto a tabletop of some kind. But the other 20 are not really that mobile. But with assistance, you can get them up on the table. And maybe there's only 5% of them that really can't help at all and need a team of people around them to help them onto the table. My third scenario could be that I am actually working in an environment that is for paralysed people from the neck down. And those kind of patients have absolutely no ability whatsoever to help you to position them on an X-ray table. So all the effort of doing that is on the staff member themselves, and that's very difficult. But if you're able to use a floor hoist to position that person really, really well, you're taking the manual handling off the staff member. So what I'm trying to say here is, if I get offered these 3 X-rays, let's say, in a tender exercise, and if this one cost, I'm just using really simple figures to just demonstrate, so if that cost 500, that cost 700, and that cost 2,000, let's say. If I'm buying it for the sports clinic, and if all of them equally are the same technically, and they can all take that X-ray I need, and they can all take that fracture, well then this one is going to do me fine, because it wouldn't matter which one I buy. The people that I'm looking after can all get on those, all 3 X-ray machines, because they're fairly able-bodied. But if I'm buying the machine for the acute hospital, I'm going to go more for these 2 styles, simply because this one might be an up and down one, or it has a little more access underneath. So if I'm using a floor hoist, or if I'm able to put it down lower and the person can sit on it, I will get a majority of my patients on that X-ray machine. But if I'm dealing with the paralysed from the neck down, I'm obviously really not stuck, but I'm really going to have to go for something like this. When end users understand that, they will then know that what they need to be describing is something that will take a floor hoist underneath an X-ray table, because they need it to save their backs. So it isn't really, it's not about the technical stuff all the time. And sometimes it's not the technical stuff that determines which way the evaluation will go. But if it's not written into the specification, we can't evaluate it. And that's one of the big problems with specification writing. Till recently, we're getting better at it. So really, at this point, you've done your homework, you've gone out, you've spoken to all the different people out there, including the suppliers. You know the market. Some things on the market are going to be fairly similar, like the ball and the square. Some things are going to be a bit unusual, like the cone shape. Some things will be totally different, like the measuring device. But the thing is that the end user now has an idea of what they can accept and what they're not willing to accept in a tender, and they need then to write their specification in such a way that they can actually use those, the main reasons they need something as a means of evaluating that particular item. So you know your choices, and now you're determining what you're going to be able to accept. So how do you put that out in a tender? Well, what I would tell an end user person to do is first of all decide what it is they need. So that's the seat to sit on. Secondly, is what it is about that seat that is important to them. And it is to not have to hold a client, as the client becomes tired very easily and becomes in danger of slipping off a chair. So then you know that you're dealing with a chair that's going to hold a patient in safely when they're weak. And again, to not to have to hold the client as they try to stand up from the chair. So you're always going to need, if I get an offer in that shows an arm out to the front where someone can push themselves up from it, that's going to be getting more marks than a chair that has the arms back a bit. So it's It's how we evaluate. We use our functional requirements to evaluate, which is something that's more important. What goes out in a tender then should be a statement that clearly tells the supplier what it is that I'm looking for. The chair must have a back support that will assist a patient to support themselves for a long period of time. Immediately the supplier actually knows what you're looking for. And then to actually ask a question of the supplier to help the supplier make sure that he delivers in the information you actually want to see in order to be able to evaluate him properly and fairly. So hopefully the outcome of that is when you get to reach the point at which you're making an award, that the end user should be happy with the choice. It might not be exactly what they want, but they now know they can accept it, and it's at the reasonable price. It may not be the cheapest price, it may not be the dearest price, but it's reasonable enough and it can be accepted. Hopefully the supplier will be able to look at it and see who's got the award and say to themselves, well, I do understand that reasoning, and I am actually satisfied enough that that other person got that award for that particular tender. Or they might see that they made an error in what they submitted. I personally like to see companies come back to me and say, oh, Colette, we'd love a debriefing, but it's not that we're here to complain. We want to improve our business. We want to make it better. I love that. I have a lot of time for those kind of suppliers, because at the end of the day, the healthcare service needs the competition out there. It's not good when we only get one supplier in to offer us something, or else they've won, in which case I hope a successful contract is born. So I hope that gives you some indication of how I would look at preparing a tender to go out, and that I would always consider the supplier as well as the end user. But I'm more inclined to put the end user at the top of the priority when it is a medical device, because if they're able to be happy about that device, then their patient gets 100% of their time and they're happy, and you've got a better environment all around. So I hope you got something.